We are. No, yeah, we missed the colonoscopy part. Those people have to call in and ask about that. All right, we're good. We're recording now. Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. It is welcome to the Hancock Park Referral Network. It is Tuesday, July 13th. Please remember to turn on your video, list your name and category in your Zoom ID, post your contact info in the chat or any other information. The meeting is beginning now at 7:16 and ends latest 8:31. Remember, the meeting is being recorded for possible publication and advertising marketing. So it's been a while, and I hope you all had a great holiday weekend last week. Happy Independence Day. And I've been away a little bit for some reason on Tuesday mornings. It's just sort of happened that way. And I'm really, really glad to be back. And we're going to do a little exercise today. And I'll give a little background here. The background is that in my business coaching, we've been studying a concept that was brought up by Chris Voss, who's a former head of the FBI hostage negotiation team for the United States. And it turns out that hostage negotiation, at least in the process of buying a home, or if you're injured or you've got some sort of chaos going on in your life, hostage negotiation actually works very well because you are
like
not
in a refi.
Exactly. Or like buying or selling a home, or changing jobs, or being injured, or losing a loved one. You're not making your decisions rationally and reasonably. You're making your decisions based on emotion, and you default into the emotion. And all of us have jobs where, to some degree, people are making their decisions. We're taught as salespeople to, hear their reason for not buying the product and then give a rational explanation, solution to, how, why they should, buy your product. And the next level of sales is to understand and be able to draw on the fact that you are actually working with people who, to a certain extent, are making their decisions based on emotion and feeling, and not based on reason and explanation and convincing. So we've been employing this in our real estate business, and it is phenomenal. Where we are, approaching them from an emotional standpoint and letting our clients express themselves and listening, and rather than explaining why this is a good time to buy in the market, really getting deep into the people and their thoughts and feelings. So one thing really fascinating that Facebook did was that they took everyone's friends. Everybody has friends in Facebook, and they put them through a filter. And what they found was that people that we have basically 10 to 15% of the population is just like us. That 85% of the population is not just like us. And so when we're choosing our clients, if we want to have trust and an emotional connection, a chemistry with our clients, which I find to make the transaction so much easier and more fun, is when we have a connection and we have when we're similar in the way we talk and decide things and interests and everything. that 10 to 15% of the population is the group of people that we want to be working with. And I know that that knocks out 85%, but if you're looking at the city of Los Angeles, 10 to 15%, 2 million people in this city are just like you and make excellent clients. So the question, maybe not for a bakery. I'm sitting here looking at Doug. I'm not sure why Doug is the only person coming up here, but when we're looking for our clients, we're looking for those 10 to 15%. As Cynthia says, the nice people, but not just the nice people, the people who are very similar to us and we connect quickly. And when we're working with the 85%, then the transaction becomes bogged down in other things because we're not quite the same in our decision-making process or all the different things that make someone click with someone else. So today, what I'd like to do first is to answer any questions about this rambling explanation, and then second, to talk to everybody, go through what it is that we each believe it makes a great client for us. And Cynthia always brings up, I want nice people. Let's imagine that you had clients that were 100% or whatever following what you said without argument and just said, hey, whatever, you got it, do it. Yes, I pay full fee. Yes, I just, I'm not here to negotiate. I just want you to give me the service, and, whatever you need, let me know and I will do it. And just, I'm not here to, this isn't anything more than getting the service done and not following up with you every day or whatever to get you to do it my way, the client way. Just do it your way and get it done. And thank you so much. And I really appreciate you. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we only had clients like that all day, every day? What would our business look like? What would our lives look like if our clients were all very similar to us, paid the full fee, enjoyed the process, trusted you, listened to you, didn't argue, didn't suspect you, and just got in line and enjoyed it? And how amazing would your experience be? How amazing would their experience be? And how great would your daily life be as far as just feeling good and enjoying the process? 10 to 15% of the people in LA are like that for you. That's 2 million people. So we've been learning that, rather than try to put a square box into a round hole, just keep looking for those 10 to 15%. And if you're not working with those 10 to 15%, you're not picking up other types of clients. You're picking out, you're looking for more. You're spending your time looking, as opposed, which is easier than working with that difficult client and making a good fee when you find the right client, than working for the difficult client, making a lower fee and working your tail off to try to make them happy when in fact they cannot be made happy. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I don't agree completely, but it makes sense, and it would be great. I think there's a way to get there with people that might not be exactly like you. And to build trust takes time, even with people that are like you. You have to get them to believe that you are there to represent them, and not the other service providers you might be using. And that takes some inquiry, and it takes some challenging of their process of getting to a decision. I found that most customers are 75% down the research path before they even engage a salesperson. So they're almost done making their decision. They're just looking for the right price. And they get to that point a lot of times on a false premise or belief system of how they're getting there and what research they're doing and why they think what they think is right. And so if you can challenge that or inquire about that and understand that, you can then effectively guide them to a thought process that might actually serve them better. And if you can do that, then you can make them like you and trust you. And then they'll start to make the decisions you would have them make anyway, because you've helped them understand the better process for getting to the decision.
Great.
But it would be great to have 1.2 million people coming into my bakery every day. That would be awesome.
What? Anybody else? Anybody else have a comment about this concept of what your business would look like and how your life would be if you were working with people just like you that trusted you?
I agree in part with you and Doug. I think for my particular business, I don't want, there's a certain level of collaboration that has to happen because I'm going into someone else's space and I don't want a bunch of replicas of what I would do, how I would live, for example, in your home. So there's a certain level of collaboration that I think needs to take place. So I don't want a bunch of me's. So it's kind of, it's a fine line, but yes, it does make it easier when the client trusts you wholeheartedly. I personally am dealing with people's money and people's lifestyle. So I require a certain level of collaboration and feedback from that client. But yes, it does make it easier when once we've had that conversation, they're like, okay, I understand. Go ahead and do what you have to do.
Yeah. Anybody else? Cynthia.
Hey, I'm gonna.
I think that I agree completely with everything you're saying, but that may be in part because my business is not a high volume business like Doug's. And I do depend on a small number of cooperative clients. And when you say, how would your life look? It would look exactly like my life looks right now, because all of my clients are wonderful. They listen to me. And one of them offered to keep my dog if I wanted to go to Europe. It was like, what? Okay, anyway, yeah, life can be marvelous. But I think let's keep talking, because not everyone is exactly fitting into all of those niches that you described.
Great. Anybody else? John?
Yeah. So, it's kind of interesting. You bring up, well, there's the great clients. I've had a fair share of the nasty client that nasty client turns into one of the best clients. And I've had that happen where, some of the ones that, you're butting heads and it's ugly, but by the end, they become some of my most loyal clients and completely turned around. And sometimes they challenge you, and I will agree, they will challenge you a little bit, but in the end, I've had some that become so loyal that, man, in the beginning, I wouldn't have thought. And there's, where you just think, why are you even using me? Because we haven't gotten along. And then by the end, we really get along. So there's some of those that you can't rule out that, yes, while you always want that great, easy, perfect client, there's some of these tough clients that turn into the perfect client or turn into the best client, even better than some of the easy clients.
Right. And that brings up for me, the 80-20 rule, which is in life, they've figured out that almost, the phenomenon for many things is that, 80% or 20% of a certain thing is taking up 80% of your time, and 80% of your, for example, profit comes from just 20% of your clients. Or when it comes to sales, if you have a sales team, 20% are doing 80% of the work or the results, and 80%, the other 80% are only doing 20%. In real estate, it's actually like 97-3. 3% of the real estate agents are doing 90% and 97% of the business, and 97% of the agents are sharing the final 3% of the business. So yes, I've definitely had that type of client too, but I'm 51 years old now, and I don't, I would like to avoid all of that difficulty, as far as, if only I would say at best 20% of those difficult clients are going to turn into great clients, and I'm going to go through 80% of hell and never get anywhere with the other group. I mean, with that same group, right? So do I want to? Yes, it's wonderful when I convert 20%. It's really rewarding, but that means I failed 80% of the time with those people or more. And I'm over that personally. I prefer just to keep looking for those clients that are, for example, in real estate, the fee is 6%. It's not 5%, it's not 4%, it's not 3%, it's not 2%, it's 6%. And the people who trust me, they pay. And they're happy. And it's not about saving 1%. It's about the experience. It's about trusting your client, your service provider. It's about, your service provider is going to work hard for you and probably make you more than that 1% that you're paying. It's just not about your fee. It's about the results and about the experience. And those are the folks that, I prefer to work with. And if I'm not working with them, what I'm working with is someone who is oftentimes, doesn't value me, looks at me as a commodity. Oh, any agent can do that. And again, not everybody in this call is the same. Like with the bakery, that is a very different business model. So, but maybe it works, Doug, when you're talking on the wholesale level, where, you're talking to Mel's Diner today, you're talking to other folks, you're talking to that president of that company that's going to be ordering from you. And, some of them are going to be hard on you. And hey, you didn't show up in 1 minute of when you said you were going to show up. And others are like, yeah, sure. Hey, Doug, come on in. So maybe that relates better than the actual buyer of the.
Yeah, and the wholesale, it's all the same. I mean, if it's an insurance agent, a bread customer, they want to know that the product is going to show up the way they expect it on time, and and then I expect them to pay for it on time too.
Yeah.
And so there are customers that we're looking at changing the relationship because they're not reciprocating. We're delivering, they're not paying. So, but yeah. I think it's similar on the wholesale end.
So, what I'd like to do today is really brainstorm on what kind of client would make, and I'm not saying you can describe it right now off the bat, but to really think about what kind of client are you looking for? Like, what kind of client experience do you want to have? Not the one you give to your client, but the one you want to have from your client, from your business. Do you want to be chasing people who are hard to deal with every day? Or do you want to be focused like a laser on the people who make your life easier by cooperating, by trusting, by paying, by following your process without all the what's the word? It's not cooperation, but
it's mishigas is the word.
Minutia.
Mishigas. For me, I have a database of people, and I'm going, and there's 500 or 600 people in there who I've worked with in the past. And I'm going through and I've got a very simple test. You know, if they don't pick up, which a lot of times they don't, do they call me back? Do they call me back? I left a message, they didn't call me back. They're gone from the database. And I'm looking for others. I'm not banging my head against the same door over and over again. And then making myself wrong. What did I do? What did I say? Well, maybe their client experience wasn't good and I need to make up for it. You know, do they call me back? Do they like me? Do they trust me? If they don't, great, next. I don't need to go through all the personal drama of chasing. I mean, I think we all can connect with that word. We chase. And
sorry. I just had a quick question because I've been thinking about this for a while. When we refer tips, when we pass tips to one another, and let's say it's a friend or you know, I'm gonna go with friends. If you have a friend, Eric, that you referred to me, at what point do you know? I want to be appreciative of your tip, but I also don't have time to chase people down. And I'm trying to find what that balance looks like between following good or following up on the referral and returning a phone call or reaching out and them not reaching back out to me, or you don't necessarily get to have that phone to phone or face to face conversation. You may have to explain who you are or what you do via text and it's not translated properly. All of those things have come up. And so I'm like, you know, I've been wanting to bring this up as a topic. What's that line look like? Because I don't want to call one time and then they're like, oh, well, your person never calls me. You know, I kind of want to know what that, I'm struggling with finding out what that balance looks like.
So that's an excellent point. And, you know, getting to a business where it works and you're not chasing is hard work. It's hard work. But once you get in the rhythm of it, it's just not personal. And so it's your job, if you're referred to somebody who, look, our job is to refer you warm leads, not cold leads.
Right.
Our job is to refer you to somebody who wants to talk to you, not refer you to someone that you now have to run around chasing.
Is there a requirement for an introduction, a three-way call, something like that, where, you know, you're handing over a warm lead, or is it just, hey, I've talked to this person, they're expecting your call, here's a name and number? I mean, it seems like at some point, Tanisha, if Erik refers you to somebody, they don't return your call, you would call Erik and say, Erik, call them, right? Call them and get me on the phone and make an introduction, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
okay.
Put it back on him.
That's what I mean by doing the work. It's not necessarily comfortable, but it's not personal. So if you're not comfortable, it's because you're making it personal.
Okay.
So let's say that I have referred you somebody on an email. The idea is that I gave you a referral to someone who is waiting for your call. Okay, that's the idea. Not someone who, because I need a tip, I shot you an email to their number and they don't call you back or pick up the phone. That's not a tip. That's a hassle. I've now given you a hassle, right? In exchange for me being able to say I had a tip, right? It's called a bogus tip.
Okay.
Okay. And, you know, all of us may or may not have, or in the future will give a bogus tip because, well, maybe we didn't realize it was a bogus tip. Or maybe that person said to us, hey, yeah, I am looking for a refi. And then I refer them to Jimmy and Jimmy's now chasing them and they're not calling him back. And now he's got to not only is he, have to call them 2 or 3 or 4 times, but he's going, what's wrong with me? It's just not fair to give a tip like that. So it's not that someone, it's not that I thought I was giving a bogus tip, but if that happens, it's Jimmy's job, because I don't know what's happening with that tip once I've given it. It's Jimmy's job, if he wants to have a business that is this business where we enjoy it and our clients call us back and so on, he needs to tell me, hey,
Okay.
Eric, they didn't ever call me back.
Eric, and to that point, I think it would be great practice if we just, in general, let the person that we were referred by, know what the status is. So even if it's a quick email or a text, like, hey, I reached out to them, waiting for a call back. I know I always appreciate it when I get that. So it gives me some sort of gauge as to what happened afterward. And if I'll get that note that, hey, I tried to reach them with the message and I never heard again, I assume it did not happen. And so then I'll try to reach back out and say, hey, what's going on? Did the person call you back? Is it just voicemail situation? Or I may have more information like, oh, hey, they're sick or they just left town. And so I can help to get the two back together. So I think that's an excellent point. And I know that none of us would intend to give a person a bad tip. It generally, and we're not out fishing like, hey, have you ever thought about refining? Well, call Jimmy. It is normally as a result of a conversation. So they mentioned something that is in the vicinity of our group. And then we'll say, hey, well, I've got a great person. I'd love to have him or her call you. I'm gonna give them your number and tell them to call you. This is their name, be expecting a call. If it doesn't happen, then there's something that went wrong.
Okay.
Right. And there are many ways to give a tip. And the best one is the one that Doug just said, which is, you literally 3-way them. Like, let's say you're on the phone with somebody and they say they need a refi. I'm literally going, hold on just a minute. I'm going to put Jimmy on. Okay. And if he's not there, I'll leave a message. But if he's there, I'm going to introduce them, and then that's the end of my conversation with that person. I'm going to then excuse myself, and say, hey, you guys keep call each other right now. We're going to drop off the line. That would be the best way. And I've done it with Jimmy in the past. I don't know if it worked out, but they did end up, they talked on the phone. And so that is the best way to give a tip. On the flip side, if you give a tip and it's not working for the person who you gave it to, then it's not a tip. I mean, it's okay to give them something where you thought it was a lead, but the definition of a tip is a person or business that is looking for your service. Okay. They're looking for it. They're not like being asked, do you want it? And they're saying all they have to do is say yes. And now I've got Jimmy chasing them. It's that they were looking for that service and I'm going to give them Jimmy. I'm going to make their life easy. I'm going to give them an incredible professional that they probably wouldn't have been able to find on their own. And they're going to be happy about that. So if you get a bogus tip, it is your job, and it's your job in your business, and this is why the referral network is so good for practice. Is you gotta tell your hey Jimmy or hey Eric, this guy he's not calling me back, and that's not a tip. Technically, that's not a tip, and so that tip that you gave gets taken away. Okay, all Jimmy has to do is email me, and that tip gets removed. And it's not like it's a slap in the face to the person who gave the tip. It's actually a recalibration of your understanding of how to give a tip and who to, and whether or not it was a good tip. And so it's not just good, it's good for the person who gave the tip to be told, hey, that wasn't a tip. Okay. And that person who's being told that needs to agree not to take it personal. Okay, we all give tips where the guy did not call the Jimmy back or whoever back. It's not personal. It's just that person didn't actually need the service, or they were already covered. and they're good. And so they don't feel the need to call back. Does that make sense?
It really does. There's I thought it was really bothersome to go back and say, hey, I haven't heard from this person. I didn't really want to bother the person who gave me the tip. So I mean, I think that what Laisha said is a good practice. Just follow up and just let them know, let whomever know the status. And the same with me, if I pass on, and it actually helps me to understand how I'm giving tips and how I'm giving tips. So I like the feedback too. So yeah, I'll be contacting some of you after.
Yeah. And I'm looking at, at least here I'm looking at 10 faces, and I know each one of you are great people, nice people, people with hearts, and great professionals. I mean, I know that about each one of you. You can't get on this line at 7 o'clock in the morning and not be a great professional. And you can't stay on this line week after week after week if you don't have a good heart and are nice, because the rest of us would make you sick and you would quit. So everybody here is that person. And you have not, it's nothing personal if somebody doesn't call you back. It's just wasn't a good tip. And it's your job to recalibrate that person who gave you the tip, so that, and not in a, obviously you're not a mean person. You're not going to say it in a mean way, but hey, this guy wasn't a good tip. This guy did not call me back. And that person's job is to say, oh, okay, what was it that I did? Did I not explain it right? I guess it wasn't a warm lead, it was a cold lead. And to recalibrate so that they're more careful next time. Because the worst thing that you can do in this group is send somebody on a goose chase. We're all busy and we're getting busier and busier and busier. And we don't need the chase. Rather not get the tip at all, right? So the tipper's job is really important, to make sure that it's a warm lead. And that lead is that you've set it up in such a way that the person receiving so that the client who you've now referred to, say Cynthia, is in fact waiting for her call. Isn't someone who's not waiting for the call and just said yeah to your question, do you need her service? Mm-hmm. But you've said to him, Cynthia is an amazing lawyer with a good heart, and you're going to enjoy working with her. And I like you. I know you're a good person. And I'm going to introduce you guys. And she's going to give you a call. Okay? Yes, great. I'm waiting for her call or whatever. Mm-hmm. She's going to give you a call and get that agreement from them. Now, some people are not going to, even then, they're not going to take the call or recall back. And that's not a tip. And let me know, Cynthia, when that person doesn't call you back. And I can either decide to take off the tip from my record on thetipwired.com, or I can decide to jump back in and make that connection happen. And that is often the case. Often the case is that you just need to jump back in and make the connection. And the easiest way to do it is just to get on a three-way at the start. Unless you know that that person that you're referring is going to call them back because you just know them and you know that's how they are and they're not going to leave Cynthia in the dirt, then just get on a three-way. Real simple, real easy. And I'll promise you that if you do that, your connection with Cynthia as a business person is going to get very deep. And your ongoing referrals between you and her are going to get deeper. The more you give, the more you receive. The more people respond to your giving. Mm-hmm. The more people connect with you. The more they are going to want to refer you. You know what I mean? So don't be afraid to do something like that. The more effort you give, the more you're going to get back. The deeper your connection with Cynthia, for example. Right? We all know how to do a three-way, right? as far as phone
Yes.
calls go. Okay, good. So, be aware of Cynthia. Be aware that, you are affecting the person you are referring to, in a good or a bad way, and try to minimize the chase for a tip, and try to maximize introducing good people to each other that end up being a great experience for Cynthia, for example, whoever you're referring to, right? Cynthia is here as an example because she wants, a specific type of business, and she doesn't want to be chasing people. Jimmy, I've gotten the feeling with you that I've sent you some people, on my prospecting that they never called you back. And I'm guilty of not having called them back and said, hey, what happened? Jimmy called. What I'll say when I do that is, hey, just checking back in. Did Jimmy call? I know Jimmy called because Jimmy told me he called and you didn't call him back. But I'm not going to say it that way. I'm going to say, hey, just checking in. Did Jimmy call? How did that go? Oh, he did call and you just didn't call him back? Oh, okay. You still need the service? Okay, great. And just clean it up. Clean it up. Make sense?
Yes.
So on that note, though, I'd like to just kind of chime in because to me, I'd rather have the introduction, even if the person's marginal. I'd rather know. And what I typically do is I'll reach out to them a couple times, if it's text or email, and I'll reach out to them a couple times. And if I don't hear back, I usually go back to the source and say, I didn't hear from them. And then I'm done with it. But I just would like to say, along these lines, don't hesitate to send me a tip, at least. And I assume everyone else's group, if you're not totally sure if this person's 100%, because to me, it's better to have the introduction. What is it? Michael Jordan said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So I'd rather have the tip, and I'll let you know if they don't, I try to, at least if I don't hear from them, but it's not a big deal. I'm not going to be upset. It's a couple phone calls and okay, they're not interested. I'm good. On to the next one.
Right.
I think to your point in the beginning, Erik, as far as you connect with who you connect with, right? So even when it comes to getting tips or any prospects or any type of, whether it be inside the group or not, you do what you do. I always liken it to like harmony, like you are your note, like whatever note you are your note. And some people will harmonize with you, some people won't. That doesn't mean you change your note. That just means, even to John's point, right? There's a lot of clients that I have initially, they were like very, contentious with me. They're very like fight, but they liked my note, but they just kind of like, they liked that little interaction. That was their thing. That had nothing to do with me. And then they became some of my best and, good friends and great clients. But that doesn't change who I was. That didn't change exactly, what I did. I think the hard part in business, when you feel like I'm trying to find more clients, do I need to switch what I'm doing or switch overall who I am versus just saying, I am who I am. I just got to make sure I just get myself out there more. That's it. I think the people who hear our note, they just don't know where we are. And we just have to make sure we're getting it out. I think the part of our group is like, hey, Erik, you're like Antonio, you're just like my sounding board or my speaker out there in the area where I am not. And same with like John, Alicia, and Tanisha. It's like, you don't change us, or you sharpen it. You do adjust. Of course, in business, you have to figure out, okay, maybe I can tweak this, maybe tweak that, but don't change who you are and understand there's plenty of people out there, just to your point, LA, and plenty. You're not trying to get everybody. You just need to get a small percent, but you got to let them know where you are.
Right. Absolutely. So to sum up, for us as business owners, we're referred somebody, and it's our job to figure out, is this somebody, that's going to work for me, or are they going to make my life difficult? Right. To hone down so that you can have a happy business, happy life. the kind of people you work for. Okay. And on the referrer's end, you know, to if somebody needs that service, to make that referral and make sure that the referral goes through. It's not your job to know whether the note is going to match Antonio's note. It's your job to get them the referral. But if the referral is not responding and you gave them a bogus tip, it's Antonio's job to recognize that and let the referrer know, hey, they didn't call me back. And a great way, Laisha, that is a beautiful way to do it. Anybody who gets a referral in their business, whether it's from Hancock Park Referral Network or just a friend, you should always be letting them know how it went, right? There's nothing more aggravating. Well, there's a lot of things more aggravating, but the one thing that's very aggravating is when I give a referral and I never know what happened. It doesn't make me feel great, but when I hear the feedback, hey, thank you so much, I connected with John or with James, and you know, we're talking, thank you so much, man, does that make me want to refer again? It does, right? So that's a, you know, that should be part of your business. You know, it's like you answer the call or if you respond to the call within 24 hours, that's part of your business. And another thing is that if you get a referral, you keep the referrer up to date on how it's going so that they're part of it and they enjoy, you know, they can see the fruits of their referral. It makes them want to do it again. If you just disappear, you take the referral and you're gone and they never know what happened, it just doesn't make you want to refer again. You know, I've had that happen where I referred people a lot of business. I never heard whatever happened with them. And eventually I started referring someone else.
Yeah, I think in my business, because everything is supposed to be so highly confidential, I probably have not been as good as I should have been in this group with just following up. I can't really tell you whether they became a client or not, but what I can really say on every tip is I've reached out and thank you so much for the tip. I've made contact or whatever. I think that would be for those of us who work in a field that need to hold confidentiality. That's a good practice.
Lovely. I haven't heard from Russ or from Jim. I have to assume you guys are 100% in agreement. Anything you want to add?
I completely agree, and kind of share someone else's statement that they said that I was worried about reaching out to say, hey, did you ever get in touch with that person and everything? But I'm kind of glad that we're having this discussion because, you know, ultimately that would make me feel good to know that if I passed off a tip and that worked for somebody, I'd like to know that. But also if I talk to somebody and they said, yeah, give me that name. And then I make that connection or make that introduction and then that person doesn't call them back, then, you know, that's going to make me have to reevaluate how I reach out to people and talk to them. And what maybe I'm probably thinking that if I do talk to somebody and say, hey, I have somebody for someone in the group to talk to, and then basically say to them, listen, I'm going to check in with them to make sure that, you know, you guys were able to connect. So I'm going to find out and then I'm going to get back in touch with you. I don't know, just something where I want them some type of accountability and on a friendly level, like a little bit of levity, but you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
One question too, and I'm assuming we all do this, but when we do call that tip, I'm assuming that we're leveraging our names here, that I'm saying, hey, it's Russ Talley from New York Life who referred me to you, just so they, especially in this day and age of spam, post-COVID, I don't know about you guys, but I rarely even answer my cell phone. It's just insane. It's ringing all day with all these spam calls. And so that's making it even more challenging. Just so I'm hoping that we are being very clear about where they found us and so that they know that we're not just a solicitor.
Yeah, I do that for sure.
Can you explain it? I'm sorry, I don't understand. Like,
hi, Michael. My name is Russ. I got your name from Doug Weinstein. He told me that you were interested in learning about life insurance, that type of a thing.
as opposed to what?
As hi, my name is Russ. I heard you were looking for life insurance.
Right.
Yeah. It's
I
like
think also
we.
that I think also like that, Doug, let the person know Russ from New York Life will be calling you. So when they get that number, when they get that, either the number comes in or the voicemail, to Alicia's point, like you get a voicemail, you start hearing, oh, this is Russ from New York Life. Like, next, like, no, because I wasn't expecting anything from like, I get those all the time. Like, you got student loan debt. I have no student loan debt. So I know you didn't get my back.
Oh, you're
But
so lucky.
that's a whole different
Yeah,
conversation.
and you've got a timeshare that you didn't know you had that you want to sell, right?
Oh my
No, yes.
God.
Yes, I hope that you guys, when you do call that person that was referred to you, that the first thing you say is, hey, Russ introduced us. I'm Erik Flexner with Coldwell Banker. And not, hey, it's Erik with Coldwell Banker, please give me a call back. That's not the right way to do it. Hey, this is Erik Flexner. Russ introduced us. I'm calling you back. Please give me a call when you can.
Definitely.
John.
So I actually did that yesterday with Antonio, but as soon as I said Antonio's name, they hung up on me. So yeah. No, actually had a nice conversation.
I still have my touch. I see. I still have my touch.
Yeah, I had a nice conversation with her yesterday. Thank you, Antonio.
Oh, you did? Good.
I did.
I was literally about to text her this morning, like, what's up?
Yeah. No, I had a nice conversation with her yesterday. But something I was also going to say, because I've done this, and it's going to sound bad, Cynthia, but Cynthia and I have had a couple three-ways, and this is by email. And so I put her and my customer on the email together, and then I can also see that, okay, there's a response there. Now, obviously, I don't want to be in a chain of 500 emails. It's like at some point you kind of have to, especially with Cynthia, with the privacy, et cetera, she has to kind of go her own way with it, and which is great because it takes me off of it, because I don't want to see you guys saying hello and good morning and going back and forth on all these emails.
What are you doing?
Yeah, right. What are you doing? Are we going to talk about this today? And it's like, no, I don't need to see all this. So, but no, so we've done that, and I think that's where it's pretty good. I've done that, I think 2 or 3 times, and I think you've gotten some customers out of this, out of what I did. And like I said, I saw the response, and I kind of know what you're doing, because they've also called me and said, hey, this is kind of what's going on, and so, but that's another way to do it, by way of email. And the 3-way call works good too. But like I said, I've just done it with Cynthia by email.
Yeah.
And just to follow up on that,
John. Those have all been wonderful.
And I've gotten connections from people, and they usually say, hi, Doug, meet Erik, Erik, meet Doug, and you guys can connect. You can take me off the email chain. A little sentence at the end to say that, because sometimes you can get, I don't need to know what's going on.
Yep. Awesome conversation. Thank you guys. Wanted to note something that I think Alicia just pointed it out. There's something, I don't remember, somebody put it, it's a post-pandemic funk or something like that. Where, and I don't know if that's the right word here, but people
fatigue
are very busy. And I have noticed that it's not just hard to get people to call me back, but even service providers, it's hard, they're not doing what they said they were going to do. And pre-COVID, they did. Like, a lot more people are just like, okay, let's do this or do that. Let's have a phone call on this day, or I'll call you. And then they never call. And that is, I'm finding, happening a lot now, like, where I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't get that call. So I'm like having to go back and call again. And I have to now keep a list of people that I called so that I can check later whether or not that person called. And, so that I'm making sure that whatever it is I need is happening, because I'll call somebody. In the past, I would have called somebody and left it at that and assumed that they were going to call me back. So we're in a very odd, at least in my world, in an odd place where you know, and it's happening. It's affecting the real estate business. You know, right now, everybody's on vacation. Everybody's out of town. You know, normally there's a portion of the population that's out of town, and the rest are here.
It's also true that a lot of people lost their jobs, found other things to do, and there's a lot of openings in all kinds of areas, and the people that are doing business, plumbers, electricians, that kind of thing, they're busy. They're just busy, and they can't handle all the business.
Right.
The best way to get people to call you back or to meet with you is to offer to meet them at Diamond Bakery to have a cup of coffee in Danish, and I'll treat you guys.
I was gonna say, or just like threaten them to send Jimmy over there. Like, I'm gonna send Jimmy Green.
Right. Like, and I think the best way for us to refer to each other is to understand what Erik was talking about earlier, which is, you know, the emotional part of, you know, people buying. And so for each of us to understand what it is that motivates someone to do business with us. And the best way to understand that is to meet, have a one-on-one. And so I'd like to invite everyone to schedule a one-on-one with me at the bakery. I'll treat you to coffee and a Danish or whatever. We can sit there and we can chat and we get to know each other, and then that way better understand. I can better understand how to refer to you, right?
Yeah, and
Like
when
that.
we are generally meeting, starting in January, we're going to start doing something called visitations. And you know, we are geographically based, right? The name is the Hancock Park Referral Network. We need to, you know, part of our job is that we're going to be meeting in person every week. Believe it or not. I know it's hard to imagine. We are geocentrically located. And so one of the most powerful ways to build a referral relationship with someone is to go to their office and visit them at their office. Two things happen. One is that you get a sense of their environment, and it makes you remember them better. Like, I've seen Cynthia's office kind of thing. And when I refer her, I know exactly what I'm referring. And she comes to mind when someone says, I need a lawyer. It's like, oh, I was in that lawyer's office. And the other thing that happens is that person who gets visited by you does not forget that. They now have a connection to you that is very strong. It is not a wasted meeting to go and show up at someone's office for 5 or 10 or 15 minutes. It is something that gets ingrained in that person's head, that you had that much care for them, that you went to their office and met them and were in their environment. Okay.
For me, my job site.
Or your job site, whatever it is. So we'll start doing that, and that will be you'll see it's very powerful. And it makes the group much stronger when we all do that. So we are now at 8:10 in the morning. Are there any final thoughts on any of these things before we go into commercials?
No, I think this is
Yeah, I got
great.
one thing.
Sorry.
Huh?
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was just saying, I think this is great. This has been something that's been on my mind for a while, and I'm glad that you started the conversation. And, you know, I was able to get some of the questions that I've been wondering out. So it was great. It's very informative. It'll definitely make me take a look at how I'm passing tips and definitely following up for sure.
Right.
Hey, and I also want to follow up the book that Erik was referring to at the beginning. It's called Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. And I'll put it in the chat. It's a fantastic book in terms of how to negotiate. And I got it from a very good friend of mine, Erik Flexner. So I'll put that in it, but it's a fantastic book in terms of how to negotiate and how to talk to people on an emotional level. And I found it hugely impactful. So thank you, Erik. Give off a
Oh,
great tip.
you know what? I've learned my negotiation skills from Glenn Ross.
Coffees for closers only.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's not how to, a lot of the negotiation, what they figured out is that negotiation is actually listening and drawing the person out. A great negotiation is where you're listening and they talk for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Because you will get to the truth. And that's what, you cannot make decisions or do a good job or anything unless you know the truth for that person.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't get the truth by talking at them. You need to to draw them out with questions that are designed to draw them out even more. And that's what that book is about. So that by the end of, by the time that they're exhausted talking to you about their truth, now they feel that you understand them. And that is the key. The key to sales in the modern world is that your client feels understood. And when they feel understood by you, they trust you. And when they trust you, you have a great client relationship that will, they will do what you say, they will follow the instructions, they will pay full fee, and it will be great for them. The results will be great, and it will be great for you too, as opposed to the person who's doesn't feel understood by you and is constantly trying to beat you over the head with what it is that what their truth is, and you're not necessarily listening, or at least not giving the impression that you're listening. So that book is very good for that. And we practice that book every day, literally. It's a language. It's very hard. Our programming is not built for listening. Our programming is built for talking, especially as salespeople. We love to talk. Look at me. So
That's a shocker.
exactly.
But no, what's neat about the book is it's like, negotiations shouldn't be confrontational. They're more collaborative, and you're working with somebody. And it's really neat because the guy talks about some stories where he was dealing with, terrorists that were going to try to kill people, and like getting to the bottom of what they really wanted and find out it wasn't, they're just normal people like us, kind of thing. It's a really good book. I highly recommend it. All right, I'll shut up now.
Thank you for bringing that up, Jimmy. All right. What I want you to know, so we've now gone a while without, a heavy duty meeting. A couple of weeks ago, there were only 7 people or something like that. We didn't meet last week. And this goes back to this, we're all getting very busy. Okay. And the world is opening up, God willing. And we're now having to cope with that. While at the same time having the residual laziness or whatever it was of being at home and enjoying that. So we're in this odd post-pandemic thing going on. And I want to remind you all, that we have a commitment in this group to be here and, not to be absent more than 4 times. Okay, which is actually not that hard. It's 1 out of 3 in a quarter. So remember that that's what's going on for us. Like, oh, I can't make it, or I have this excuse or whatever. Remember that we have an attendance policy, and this meeting is not good if it's only a few people. So you're not just taking you're not just you're taking away from your business, but you're also taking away from the other members' business by not showing up. Okay, I'm not talking to anyone here specifically. I'm just reminding, because of this pandemic thing that's going on, that we all need to be, as on top of it as possible, and be here at the meeting. This was a great discussion because we were all here. Almost all of us. We're missing a few people. And that's it. That's all I got. So let's do and then moving forward, starting next week, we're gonna do speeches and showboating all the way through our group. Okay. Last week we were off, but the week before I wasn't there. Who spoke then? Can you raise your hand?
I did.
It was
Eric,
late. And was it Antonio before that? Did you go ever,
Oh.
Antonio?
I did not.
Okay.
I did not.
Do
Okay.
I get credit for showing up last week, even though there wasn't a meeting?
So Antonio, you will be speaker or showboater?
Both.
Okay. So what I want to do is for the next, we've got 10 people here, 13 people in the group. We're going to go through showboating and speaking all through the group. I guess it's going to take about a month or a month and a half of everybody doing speaking, showboating, and greeting. Okay, we're going to start the greeting thing, and that is where whoever the greeter is, you got to be on the call at 7 a.m. Okay, now I don't know if there's going to be a guest there. The greeter's job is to, you know, let's say we're meeting in person. The greeter's job is to go up to that person, to stand at the door, and when they come in, to say, hey, nice to meet you, thanks for coming, what's your name? And then in a gentle way, moving them over to one of the members who's in there and introducing them, and so that people don't just walk in and stand in the corner and they feel taken care of from the beginning. You know, these are very important things for building the membership and having a great experience for any guests that we have. So it's not that there will be a guest, but you need to be here when you're the greeter at 7 a.m. Make sense? So 3 things happen every meeting, okay? When we're meeting in person, and we're practicing that now. 1, there's a speaker. 1, there's a showboater. 1, there's a greeter. And those are the 3 things that happen every week, okay? So I'm going to...
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, sorry, I thought it was a pause. I was going to ask quickly, with the speakers and the showboaters, is there like a rhythm, or do you guys just let us know who's going to do each one of them? Or do we know if we do this one, then we do that one?
Yes. So what I'm going to do is create a spreadsheet, and we're going to send it to everybody. Okay. And you're going to confirm, or you're going to let me know that that doesn't work. Okay. So your job, my job, is to create the spreadsheet, and all you have to do is confirm. Okay. I'm not going to send you an email and then you not confirm, because then I don't know. I don't know whether the program is set or not. Right. So everyone, when you get your email, confirm that those days and times that you've been assigned, that you are confirmed on those days and times. And it will be 3 different things. One day you'll be speaker. Well, I can't remember the order. It's like, I think it's greeter, then speaker, then showboater, or one of the 3. It goes in an order, and it goes. You're there for, it's 3 weeks in a row, right? So if you're greeter the first week, you know you're going to be showboater the next week and speaker the next week, and then you're done with that. Make sense?
Yeah.
And that's a great way to introduce yourself to everybody in a progressive manner. So first they see you, then they hear you a little bit, then they hear all about you.
Yeah. Yep. It's designed that.
All right, we got 10 minutes to get 10 commercials in, so maybe we ought to do
that. Maybe we ought to do that. All right, so I'm gonna do the timing here. 30 seconds. And I'm just gonna start at the top of my screen where I see Antonio first. And you're on.
Good morning. This is Antonio Goodwin, your financial advisor. Yes, I am with Ameriprise Financial, but I do work for you. So when you give me your goals, your dreams, you tell me how you want to live your life today and in the future, I utilize and leverage the tools and technology of Ameriprise Financial to not only get you there, but walk you through your retirement and through to your future with your family. So Antonio Goodwin, Ameriprise Financial advisor. I need more coffee. One more
Beautiful.
cup.
Very nice.
One more cup of coffee.
Russ.
Unmute.
Okay, one more time. If you love someone or owe someone, you should have life insurance. You have life insurance on your car, life insurance on your home. Some people even have life insurance on their cell phone, but many don't even insure the greatest asset, which is themselves. My name is Russ Talley, and I'm an agent with New York Life. I'm here to help you, and I help people secure and insure the greatest assets. If you love someone or owe someone, you should have life insurance.
Beautiful. Thank you. John Chadbourne.
Morning, I'm John Chadbourne. I'm with Equity Title Company. Services are title insurance, lien information, CC&Rs, document information. Bring me those customers that Cynthia doesn't want. Bring me those nasty customers. I will whip them into shape. I provide services for real estate transactions, and John Chadbourne, Equity Title. Thank you.
Beautiful. T.
Hey, I'm on mute. Okay. Do you need help? Great. Let me help you. Bring your design and construction ideas to life. Let me help you bring your design and construction ideas to life. I have over 15 years of planning, budgeting, scheduling, and building the 4 elements of any construction project. And remember, the T from TLC Construction is T loves construction.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Next, Leisha.
Hi there. If you have ever worn a hospital gown, you know that you're not always as covered as you think you are. Well, insurance can be a lot like that. If you want to make sure that you're properly covered, you, your family, your loved ones, send them to our agency, Leisha Willis State Farm Insurance, and Larchmont Village will make sure you are properly covered.
Lovely. Doug Weinstein.
Hi, I'm Doug Weinstein, Diamond Doug with Diamond Bakery on Fairfax for 75 years. We make every day delicious. So come on by Diamond Bakery. We have products from bris to Shiva. That's from birth to death. We've got every celebration covered. So come on into Diamond Bakery and make your life delicious.
Beautiful. Mr. Jim Bloomfield.
Good morning. I'm Jim Bloomfield. I'm an acupuncturist, and my business really is about providing healthcare. And I just need to remind everyone that the emphasis there is on care, because what I'm interested in doing is helping people with their progress and their health. And I have a lot of different ways of doing that. I've been working with people in this personal level for almost 20 years. And we've been in the same location in Larchmont for 15 years. I really enjoy my job, and I enjoy getting people progress on things where they're stuck in their health.
Lovely. Cynthia Juno.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Juno, Juno Law Offices. If you know anyone who has a real estate related legal question, from tiny to huge, tiny as in what does this thing mean in this escrow document, to I need to evict a tenant, call me. I have 32 years experience, and I'm glad to help.
Wonderful. James Greenspan.
Good morning, everybody. Jimmy Green with Finance of America Mortgage. Bring me your tired, your weary, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. You know, people are trying to buy a house right now and they can't get their offer accepted. Well, I can do what other lenders can't. I can get them fully pre-approved with an underwriter so they can write all cash offers and get in that beautiful home. And thank you every 4th of July for allowing them to have their freedom. Jimmy Green, Finance of America Mortgage.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. All right, last one is me. I just want to go over a little interesting inventory. We just helped one client lease their condo in Los Feliz, another leased their house in Hollywood. We are helping a buyer buy in Palos Verdes, and another person sell in Westchester, another person sell in Hancock Park, and another one sell in just north of the 10 in something called Wellington Square. We're all over LA. We love LA, and anybody who knows someone who wants to buy anywhere in LA or sell, we can probably help them. Erik Flexner, Coldwell Banker. And that, folks, anybody have any announcements or testimonials?
I want to make an announcement. I think Russ, that was an awesome commercial. I love the cell phone thing. It stuck. I'm gonna remember that.
Yeah, I like the hospital gown one. That was really funny.
Yeah.
I want just shout out for Tanisha. She completed all the work, got everything done. The place looks great.
Yay. It was
and
great working with Doug and his partner.
And we'll get you paid one of these days. So hang in there.
Also, the testimonial for T. I had a condo that called me recently and thought that their second floor was sinking. And after Florida, we know how panicked everybody is around construction and stability. And she immediately called they were trying to reach contractors all over. Nobody would call them back. Apparently, this is what you're talking about, Erik. And T immediately contacted them and got them connected with a structural engineer. There's an appointment set. So they were very, very happy about that. Thank you, T.
Thank you. And I also thank you guys for the referrals and the tips. But I also want to just make sure that within this group, if there are any questions about construction or building or anything, please utilize me as a resource. My phone, I know John, I helped John out with something that it took me much longer than I anticipated. And I think it may have been some helpful feedback, but please, it doesn't, regardless of if you retain me for any services, call me. I think that's part of the reason why I'm in this group. I'm a resource to you guys. So please feel free to call me about any sort of construction needs.
Yeah, I also want to say to Tanisha, unlike Antonio, when Tanisha heard it was my name, she hung up. But I talked to T, I guess several weeks ago, and she reviewed some plans for me. And thank you for taking a look at that and giving me some input. I appreciate it.
No problem. Glad to be of service.
Real quick, sorry, a little small thing. Tanisha.
Yes.
Tanisha, not Tanisha. Tanisha.
Antonio, if you can hear all of the names that I know, I have been Tennessee to Nick, just everything. So that's why I go by T.
I know. Listen, that's just my mind. I'm just I get Anthony, Antoine, everything. Just
it's
I'm
all
big
over
on
the
names.
place.
I'm big on names.
I understand. Thank you for coming to
I heard 4 times today. I'm like,
I'm immune to it now.
I get that all the time. Yeah.
Dog.
Hey, dog.
No, my son's name is Dominic, so they keep calling him Dominique for his first 3 years of life, and I would be like Nick, Dominic. It was a whole class I had to do on it.
All right, so you think that's bad? My daughter's name is Sochil. Do you know how to spell that?
Wait, say that again.
X.
Her name is Sochil. Anybody know how to spell that?
Oh, with an X, right?
Xochil.
Xochitl. It's Nahuatl, which is Aztec, and it means flower. And the reason that I came up with that name is I was teaching middle school, and I'd have girls with that name, and I'd screwed up Sochitl, and one girl said, you know what? It's Sochil. And she kept doing it, and okay, I got it. And I'm like, you know what? I want my daughter to stand up and say, this is how you pronounce my name, and not let anybody butcher it. Unfortunately, I got that tenfold because she stands up and gives her opinion on everything now. But anyway, that's my little story.
Oh, man.
And I just wanted to say thank you to Leisha and Antonio. Thanks for the help.
What did you say?
I said I wanted to thank Leisha and Antonio.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
More tips?
Yeah, yes.
Oh, okay, great.
No, just say thank you. You
No,
can't say thank you.
It's for the
just wants to
food they
say just some
delivered.
gratitude. He doesn't need a reason.
What about thank you for being who you are?
Thank you for being a friend.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a shout out for Russ. Russ has been working with Brian, my business partner, and we'll get something together. But thanks, Russ, for all your help and your information and your flexibility, and looking forward to closing my hospital gown on my life insurance.
And I'll be calling you later about my cell phone, Russ.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to chime in one last time, Erik, real quick. Hey, just really to thank you, Erik, and Jimmy. Jimmy actually gave me a tip during the meeting this morning. I saw it come in, but thanks, you guys. I really appreciate all the support.
Absolutely. And you know, it's 8:31. Guys, what are we here for? We are here to do business. Okay. This is a business networking group. This week, recalibrate, focus. We got 2 weeks till the end of the month. Give tips. Look for tips. Okay. I'm looking for you. You're looking for me. Remember, that is our goal. Okay. So let's have a bunch of tips logged on LaTip Wired by the next meeting. Have a great meeting. Love you all.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Bye.
Everybody.
Bye-bye.